The stage is set for the College Football Playoff National Championship, first one of the 12-team era. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. We're going to find out about how they got there in the semis afterwards. And all but one game in the wild card has been finished. Tonight will be Vikings-Rams. We will react to all of those as well. The games that have already been played on Saturday and Sunday. But also, I just want to take this time to really send my thoughts and prayers to all the people in Los Angeles. If you hadn't heard, the wildfires there have caused the game that was supposed to be in LA to be moved to Arizona. Yeah, Vikings-Rams got moved from LA to Arizona because of these wildfires. Everyone out there, stay safe. And also, we are thinking about you in our thoughts and prayers. Respect. Anyways, welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. We are in the home stretch of this football season for the 2024-25 campaign. We got college football playoff semis and NFL wildcards from the weekend reaction today. Yeah, if you don't know exactly, there was 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and there's going to be 1 tonight, like I just mentioned. If you haven't already, if you are new to this series, I will leave a link in the description with the entire playlist. Make sure you click that link so you can get to every single episode so that you're all caught up. And you also have it for the rest of the NFL season, which is Division Round, Conference Championship, College Football Playoff National Championship, and the Super Bowl, of course. Also, make sure you hit that red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos that I post. I may try to get back into the Mario Kart Tour scene, maybe do some Call of Duty Mobile. Who knows? Because, I stream Call of Duty Mobile on Twitch. I'll make sure to leave a link in that Twitch so that you guys can go see my streams. Anyways, without further delay, let's get to the games. College Football Playoff Semis. We had to kick things off with a Friday night game from last week. The Orange Bowl. Notre Dame, the 7th seed, takes down the 6th seed Penn State Nittany Lions 27-24. Let me tell you, this game, along with the other game, these 2 semis were complete cinema. This in particular, this was the best game in this entire semis. Maybe in the entire playoff. Well, maybe Texas Arizona State has something to say about that. Hey man, shout out to both of these teams. These 2 teams played their hearts out. Nothing to be ashamed of for Penn State and James Franklin. He might still have a job after this season. Ryan Leonard had a horrible game statistically, but he turned it around and led a game-winning drive on the field goal. He had 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 200 yards. Drew Aller, no touchdowns to pick, 130 yards as well. Yeah, both quarterbacks did not have very good games at all. That's because the rushing game was what really took over this game. You had Jeremiah Love and Ryan Leonard getting rushing touchdowns. Jaden Grayhouse having 7 catches, 100 yards, and a score for Notre Dame. And on Penn State, we had Nick Singleton, 3 rushing touchdowns on 84 yards. Katron Allen also 80 rushing yards. And Tyler Warren proving why he is the best tight end in the entire country. Yeah, sorry, I forget his name on Bowling Green, but you're definitely number 2. But Tyler Warren definitely deserved the John Mackey Award. 1 sack and an interception by Christian Gray for Notre Dame. Both of these defenses actually played pretty solid. It really came down to which defense was going to break last. It ended up being Penn State's. Besides that last drive, speaking of Penn State, we had 5 sacks for Penn State's defense, including 2 from Dennis Sutton. We had 2 interceptions by said Dennis Sutton and Sakeem Wheatley. Crazy stuff that they choked at the end. Mitch Jeter, the kicker for Notre Dame, was the hero of this game as he kicked the game-winning field goal to send the Irish to the national championship. Both these teams played well. I have nothing against any of these 2, but it really comes down to if Notre Dame can really step up and prove they are one of the realest teams out there. Because the other game, the winner of that game was going to be very tough no matter what. And the winner of that Cotton Bowl was the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yep, I said the Ohio State Buckeyes. They win 28-14. It's only deserving. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think these are the 2 best teams in the entire country. Well, yeah, I guess so. Ohio State really proved that they definitely belonged in that national championship. We got an 8 versus 7 national championship in the first 12-team playoff in the era. Unreal stuff. But I will say, conference champions getting buys is really not that great because every single one of them lost their first game. I would literally just give the conference champions just berths. Like, playoff bids, but not exactly buys. That goes to the 4 PES teams, period, honestly. That's my proposal to the NCAA. Both quarterbacks play like their teams deserve to be in the Cotton Bowl. Will Howard, almost 300 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Quinn Ewers actually kind of outplayed him. 2 touchdowns and a pick on almost 300 yards as well. Well, Quinn Ewers was less accurate, but he had more touchdowns. As far as Ohio State's rushing and receiving games, we had Quinshon Judkins getting 2 rushing touchdowns and Trevion Henderson having a 75-yard receiving touchdown. Quiet game from Jeremiah Smith, but he's going to show up in a national championship. Just trust me. No rushing touchdowns for Texas, but Jen Blue, 2 receiving touchdowns for Quinn Ewers. 4 sacks from the Buckeyes defense and an interception by Caleb Downs, and there was also a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Yeah, my face game was blocking it, but Jack Sawyer picked up a fumble from Quinn Ewers and took it all the way to the house for one of the touchdowns that pretty much sealed the game. Don't sleep on Texas' defense because they played solid as well. 2 sacks and an interception by David Gabenda. I definitely butchered that. But as it turns out, the better team won on Friday, so congratulations to the Buckeyes, and the national championship has finally been set. The first ever 12-team playoff era national championship is going to be between the 8th seed Ohio State Buckeyes and the 7th seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Atlanta. As for who I think is going to win that game, I'm not going to put any check marks or anything because it's not just because I don't have that menu yet, but it's really going to be I'm trying to get to the wild card matchups as soon as I can. But I am going to say the Buckeyes will prove that they are going to be the first team to win the national championship of the 14 playoff era and the first team to win the national championship in the 12-team playoff era. But I will say, Notre Dame is going to put up a good of a fight. Don't sleep on that Irish as much as I hate them. Michigan fans, I am so sorry, but I gotta pick Ohio State for this one. But anyways, let's get to the NFL wildcard matchups already. Come on, man. It's a great job to be in that sports reference screen again. But anyways, let's kick things off with this game on Saturday. Starting off with a doubleheader on Saturday, we got the Chargers losing to the Texans badly, 32-12. I gotta be honest, I did not see a blowout coming. I was expecting it to be the other way around, but Houston definitely learned from their mistakes, and I feel like they might be the Kansas City Chiefs from last year, except without a ring. But holy hell, what happened to Justin Herbert? 250 yards, a touchdown, but 4 interceptions. How in the world is that even possible? First of all, where did this come from? Second of all, why now in the playoffs? Rushing game certainly didn't help, but holy shit. Ladd McConkey had the game of his life and they still lost. Y'all owe Ladd McConkey a big apology, LA. Ladd McConkey, 200 receiving yards on 9 catches and a touchdown, the only one of the game for LA. Like, come on, you guys had 3 sacks, including 2 from Khalil Mack, and 1 from Joey Bosa, and an interception by Deontay Leonard, and the offense still couldn't produce when it mattered most. Here's your weekly Dicker the Kicker mention. The Texans offense finally woke up. You had C.J. Stroud with 300 yards passing, a touchdown, unfortunately an interception. Joe Mixon with 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. Oh, we saw Deontay Johnson get a catch, but that's not important. The only person that really showed up in this game was Nico Collins on the receiving corps. 7 catches, 120 yards and a score. The people that showed up were C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, and the defense. Yep, that's right. The Texans defense had 4 sacks, including 1.5 from Mario Edwards and 1.5 from Will Anderson. We had 4 interceptions. Kamari Lassiter had 1, Derek Stingley had 2, and Eric Murray had 1. Oh yeah, and Eric Murray's interception was returned for a touchdown. Did I also mention that Houston actually got a safety as well? We got ourselves a playoff scoregami, baby. But in all seriousness, congratulations, Houston. You really proved a lot of people wrong that Jim Harbaugh still has to get some offensive help, including a running back. I think Justin Herbert is still an above-average quarterback. He just needs a lot of help at receiver. His best player is Ladd McConkey on the receiving core, and he's built like a slot receiver. But anyways, Houston, good luck against Kansas City. As far as the other Saturday matchup, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Ravens on Prime. Yes, Amazon Prime, 14-28. Besides the third quarter, Pittsburgh dropped a goose egg, and their defense couldn't stop anything for shit. I'm not saying Russell had a bad game. I mean, he had 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 20-29. It was the rushing game that sucked. I mean, well, it was because they only ran the ball 11 times. George Pickens is back, 5 catches, 87 yards, and score. The other touchdown going to Van Jefferson. When I said the defense couldn't stop anything, I meant that. Only 1 sack on Lamar Jackson by Alex Highsmith, and that was basically it. Like, nobody really stepped up for the Steelers' defense. Minka Fitzpatrick got stiff-armed by Derrick Henry to the ground, like Derrick Henry always does to people. Speaking of which, it was the Derrick Henry show all game. 26 carries, 186 yards, 7 yards a carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns this entire game. Don't take credit away from Lamar Jackson. He also threw touchdowns with under 200 yards. The rushing offense, if you let that get going, you're in trouble. I'm talking about you, Buffalo. Touchdowns went to Rashad Bateman and Justice Hill, and Isaiah Likely led receiving with 3 catches and 53 yards. How did Baltimore's most receptions were by a running back? How did that happen? No interceptions, but defense got 4 sacks, including 2 from Nade Madubuike. Both the Ravens offense and defense completely stepped up, and they really took on the challenge, which it really wasn't a challenge unless it was because of the third quarter. Pittsburgh still has a long way to go, but Tomlin just needs to stop going 500, man. He needs to start winning playoff games when they matter. As for Baltimore, the game that happened on Sunday afternoon really decided who you were playing against. With that team being the Buffalo Bills, Sunday 1 o'clock game was Buffalo against Denver. Denver had a really good start in the first quarter. They were up 7-3. Had a good first quarter, but then it all went to shit. They allowed 28 unanswered points to Buffalo to lose 31-7. Let me just say, Denver is a young team. They're not quite ready to really be a contender yet, but give us some time, give them a new running back, give them another receiver to go aside of Courtland Sutton, give them a better looking offense, and they should be fine. When I say the running back room is shit, I mean it. Like, the best rusher was Bo Nix. Bo Nix had 150 passing yards, 43 rushing yards for under almost 200 yards total, with a passing touchdown. The only one of the game for this entire team. Take a wild guess at who that went to. Not Courtland Sutton, Troy Franklin got a touchdown. I really do hope Troy Franklin turns into that wide receiver too that Denver's looking for. Because they desperately need a wide receiver too aside from Courtland Sutton. Think about the Rams. Their elite offense is because they have 2 good receivers on opposite sides. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. If Denver has the same thing with Sutton and Franklin, they should be in good hands if they can get a great running back. You really need a Saquon Barkley kind of talent, or a Bijan Robinson kind of talent. I was trying to remember his name already, even he is on my fucking team. Somebody like Ashton Genty or Cam Scatterboo would be great for Denver's offense. Defense tried everything they could. It's just the offense just ran out of gas. 2 sacks for the defense, and that was basically it. Defense got fatigued, and Buffalo took great advantage in the next 3 quarters. Josh Allen had a solid game, 280 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Do I remember Tyler TNT calling this a Buffalo Bills funeral? If it's any kind of funeral, it's the Broncos, sadly. Josh Allen under 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, with James Cook having 120 rushing yards in his score. He is an elite running back, though. Come on. 2 touchdowns went to Curtis Samuel, who led receiving with 3 catches for 68 yards, and Ty Johnson out of the backfield. Buffalo's defense got 2 sacks as well, but They overall played very solid and forced a lot of stops on the Broncos. Oh yeah, and Tyler Bass is here. Watch him choked in the divisional round again. Buffalo versus Baltimore and Houston versus Kansas City in the divisional round. My picks are staying the same in the conference championships. You're going to find out what those are tomorrow. Up next, we had the 4 o'clock wild card game on Sunday. We had the Eagles play the Packers. Eagles won 22-10. Every team except for one game, every home team rather, won their game except for one. You're going to find out who that is. But judging by how many games I just covered up, I think you know which one I'm talking about. But anyways, Packers just had no chance whatsoever. I know they had a magical run last year, but this is not the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon. Jordan Love struggled mightily against the Eagles defense. He threw 3 interceptions. Josh Jacobs tried everything he could. 81 rushing yards and a touchdown. It was just nobody stepped up to the plate, especially on the passing game. Like, the most receiving yards one player had was 46, and Jaden Reed on 4 catches. Defense got 2 sacks, but other than that, they were just unable to stop Philadelphia for nothing. Philly stepped up both offensively and defensively. This game was over by like the third quarter or something like that. Jalen Hurts, I know his passing yards are low. People discredit him for that. But his passing touchdowns, he had 2 of them. And speaking of Saquon Barkley, he had 120 rushing yards on the game. Like, dude, Saquon was probably the best acquisition in Eagles history. Instantly becomes a 2,000-yard rusher on Philly. And he has a pretty solid playoff game here. Very good one, in fact. Receiving touchdowns went to Jahan Dotson somehow and Dallas Goedert. But A.J. Brown with only 1 catch? We're going to have the argument with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts again. 2 sacks by Nolan Smith and 3 interceptions. 1 by Darius Slay. I had not said his name in a long time, but he did get an interception. Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie, got one. And also Zach Bond as a linebacker got an interception. Defense definitely did step up. So did the offense. And that was pretty much what won them the game. Taking advantage of Green Bay's mistakes. Philadelphia, you will play the winner of tomorrow night's game between the Vikings and Rams. Congratulations on making it to the divisional. I'm very sure you guys are going to make the NFC Championship at least. The reason that Philly's opponent will either be the Vikings or Rams is because on Sunday night, we had the Commanders come into Tampa and stun the Bucs 23-20 with rookie Jaden Daniels. This guy's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, hands down. I know rushing game was a bit sloppy, but as far as the passing game goes, Jaden Daniels had a solid game. 270 yards, 2 touchdowns on the game. With touchdowns going to the 89 receiving yard players, De'Ami Brown and Terry McLaurin. 1 sack and Bobby Wagner picked up a forced fumble as well. Defense did what it could and it came down to a game-winning field goal. Zane Gonzalez being the hero of this game between Washington and Tampa Bay. 3 made field goals, including the game-winning one with the seconds winding down. Baker tried everything he could. I will give him that. He's still an elite quarterback. 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he lost a fumble as well. Rushing game, Bucky Irving. Yeah, you might have to name him running back 1 instead of Rachaad White, sadly. I still think Rachaad White's decent, but he has just been completely irrelevant now that Bucky Irving has turned into a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm in a 1,000-yard rusher. But anyways, speaking of receiving, Bucky Irving also got a receiving touchdown, along with Mike Evans, who had 7 catches, almost 100 yards. Bucs couldn't get a single turnover to save their lives. The only thing that happened was the Levante David sack. Like, the offense played well, but the defense just couldn't stop Washington for some reason as far as the passing attack goes. I'm going to be honest, I was not expecting this to be the game where Tampa Bay completely collapses, but unfortunately the injury bug got to them. I really am hoping that Jaden Daniels is going to be playing at a level like he has never played before because he's got to play Detroit. Once again, divisional predictions are going to be happening tomorrow, along with the reaction to the Vikings-Rams wildcard game. Anyways, that is going to do it for Grizzly Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button, hit that red subscribe down there, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizz, and that's all for me. today. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.